All right. Well, tell me how'd spring break go?
The spring break went really well, as you know from our social media. We got to go to Isle of Palms, which was great, and the boys had a fantastic time. I've been asked about 4 times since to please go back, and
Nice.
I promised them we would try to go again just as soon as we can. We spent some time together. We did some reading. Finally worked through some of the books that were on the bookshelf, and amazingly, a lot of books that we already had that kind of resurfaced. We redid the carpet in the boys' bedrooms. So when we redid Morgan's, we took everything out and put it back in. And then I think once everything was organized again, it kind of brought to light all the old things that old look new again, because it was nice and clean and organized to put up. So we were reading Christmas stories because that's what Morgan wanted to read.
Yay.
So we were reading Polar Express and stuff. But yeah, it was a very productive week, which was good. Nathan's room got painted, and a lot of things that had been on the project list, but they had a good time, and they got to do a lot of their little projects and have fun.
Good, 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 good. So it sounds like you guys were kind of relaxed, but still had some reading
Yeah.
that got to go on. How about
Mhm.
the scavenger hunt? Did you get to do any of that stuff?
So we did. He really had a blast. It went over very well. He was very excited. I was very pleased. It was a good experience. It went by a little bit faster, so I think next time I need to make it a little tougher. I think I
Okay.
kind of erred on the side of caution and made it a little too easy. So I know,
Okay.
but just the whole concept and idea they really loved, and they really enjoyed being able to kind of go do that and run around in the yard and kind of work through those little puzzles.
Very nice, very nice. How about what was it?
The
Mega
magnetiles.
magnetiles. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
How did he like those?
So he loved those. He didn't take so much to the idea. So Morgan, I don't know if it's where he was out of school for the week or if it's where he's been off of his longer, like extended dose of ADHD medicine, but it's getting a little bit harder. We're getting back into some of the frustratedness and some of the just not paying attention and not having it, where, he was doing so much better for a long time. I think I don't think it was where he was out of school, because even back in school, this week has been a very hard week so far. He completely forgot his work on Monday. Yesterday, he was just crying and frustrated, not because anything was hard, but he just didn't want to do it. So it
Mm,
was really difficult. He was doing some handwriting, and he's like, my hand hurts. And I'm like, well, you can, if you're tired and you need to take a nap. He's like, no. I'm like, then don't cry. Let's get through it. Um, but he's just not feeling this week.
mhm.
Um,
Okay.
so that made it kind of hard. So the magnetiles, the reason that I say that is we weren't able to necessarily work through anything specific with them. It was more of just spending the time playing, making the shapes, building the
Mm,
stuff, but not necessarily working on any kind of association of what these are in 2D and 3D. It was just more a play experience of being able
yeah.
to put those together and what they do. I still think it was productive, but it just wasn't particularly what I had in mind, just because he was having a tough time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have to adjust, and that's good. You got to
Right.
introduce it to him.
Mhm.
That's important. Just introduce it, and then you can bring it back up if he has homework, or if you guys are doing something where you're using them, you can pull them out so he can actually visualize it.
Mhm.
If he's using those 3D shapes.
Right.
Um, so we um kind of talked about in our last meeting, just kind of seeing how that week went to kind of get an
Mhm.
idea of, how homeschool might go. I feel like it was more of a relaxed week, but
It
like you
was.
said, it was still very productive. And can you see kind of places where you could maybe, so even when you start homeschooling, you're going to have to ease into it. So,
Right.
once you decide you're going to do it, you kind of can gradually increase the load, the
Mhm.
workload.
Right.
um, you know, if he's not having a good day, of course, you just, like you said, you can just play with the magnetiles, where maybe by week 4, you want to get to where you guys can add a worksheet or something, so you would be
Right.
gradually increasing the workload. And so this kind of just gives you an example of maybe that first week of summer, what it might look like, just
Right.
adding some educational components. And
Mhm.
then, the next week, a lot of people just want to jump into it. They're like, oh, we're going to do this, over the summer. And it goes awful because your kids hate it and you're overloaded and they're not being flexible. And, like you said, looking at, if Morgan's not having a good day. So I don't want you to get discouraged, and just kind of know that it is a gradual process. You increase the workload slowly. And even him going back to school this week after a break, my kids were easing back into school. We did take a
Right.
week off, which we usually don't. And we did do some online stuff. We didn't do a lot of like paperwork and writing.
Mhm.
I just let them do some games on the computer just to kind of keep their brains going.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're easing back into it. We had Homeschool Explorers. I worked on Monday, so we do very little on Mondays and Tuesdays when I work. But today, I was like, "Did you guys get this done? Did you get this done?" And they're kind of like,
Mhm.
And
Right.
so they wanted to look up a video. Mariana's doing a dance on she's got a musical dance, and so they looked up that video and they started researching that. So I just kind of let them. But easing back in after a break is to be expected, especially
Right.
for a child like Morgan. So,
Right.
I would definitely, just kind of know that he probably has had his little brain just shut off from, trying to really I don't know, start processing again. And so being back at school might take a couple days for him to adjust.
And
Um,
that, I mean, kids, it's just something that we know. Kids with ADHD, they thrive on patterns and routine. So when you
yeah.
get their routine messed up, they're like, what? And now it's almost, it's kind of reaching that point. And that's the trouble. The benefit of homeschool would be we could do more, adapting and whatever. The problem with the public school is, they have an agenda and they have to do what they have to do. So Morgan's got, spelling test this week, which we haven't really studied very much for because he wasn't having it. He's got a math test tomorrow, and it seems like no matter how many times I've tried to, go over things with him, it's not wanting to go in. Same thing with today. He was supposed to have a social studies test on reducing, reusing, recycling, that kind of thing. And we went over it last night, and he just could not even. He was so done with it, he couldn't even repeat back to me what I was saying. I mean, he was just not there. He wasn't happy. So we let it go. The grades will be what they'll be. We did the best we could and onward we go. That's one of the frustrations that I have. I feel myself finding more frustrated this week. And I don't know if he didn't seem to do this bad over Christmas. He jumped back in and was doing much better. So I don't know if it's because I didn't medicate him at all last week, if it's because his medicine, like he's been off of the extended release, he's taking the morning dose again this week. If it's putting him back on the medicine that is making him tired, I think it might have been a mistake to leave him off the medicine all week,
Okay.
because his little system is kind of sitting here going, what, it's kind of going, why are we were good, why are we doing this? I
So
think
you
that may
just
have been
started
an
it
error
back.
on my part. I
You
started
started
it
back
back.
on Monday,
We started back on the short term because the short release, because that's all I have.
but you did it on Monday.
Yeah, we
Okay,
did
so
it Monday
maybe.
and Tuesday. We did it this week because, I mean, normally he gets it through the week, and I try to give him a
Mhm.
break on the weekend, but the weekend is not so bad. But I think maybe where he was off of it for 10 days, it really kind of it might just be an adjustment issue. But yeah, it's been a little frustrating. We're trying to take it in stride. I know that he's probably not going to do very well this week, but that's okay.
Mhm.
Those are the kind of things that I feel like if he doesn't grasp, he'll grasp in time. And with the spelling test and stuff, I mean, he's got the time, he's got the opportunity to learn those things. We do have, he has been using the Alexa to spell things. I forget what he wanted to spell the other day, but it was even 2 words. And one of the things we're working on now is getting him to enunciate to where she can understand what he's saying, because he has a little bit of a hard time. He starts to slur those things together and he kind of mumbles under his breath. So that's an added benefit of getting him to speak more clearly, because he can do it. He just kind of likes to talk that way. But this is teaching him you have to talk more clearly. And if he gets
Mhm.
more into that habit, he's asking her every morning, what's the weather? Things like that. He likes it. He enjoys it. So if that's a way to get him to speak more clearly, that's a bonus because he needs to. So that's something else we're learning. I think one of the things that probably I'm seeing about my summer program plan, there's a million things in life that you have to learn. and there's no set schedule. So I think I might have some overall general goals, but I think I'm probably going to refrain from getting too specific with my
Okay.
plan, because I think
Okay.
that's one of the things that I, as a type A personality, I like to have a plan and an agenda and how we're going to go. We're going to spend the time, but I think I may let him really kind of lead more with what we're going to do during the time
Okay.
than me picking, because I think it's going to be a mistake if I try and he's just not having what we're trying to do that day.
Yeah.
And I don't want to waste the day. I don't want to waste the time. I don't want to frustrate him because it is summer break, but I still want him to make those goals. My main primary concern, of course, is just reading at this point, because if you can read, you can teach yourself anything. So
Yes.
finding more things that he wants to do, more things he can relate to. And if we've read the book 100 times, so be it. He still can't read it, so we're going to keep reading it. He'll get there.
Yes. 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 So I'm just taking some notes while we're talking about your summer plan goals,
Mhm.
and I'm just putting down that you want to do more of an interest-led learning than trying to have like a set curriculum. Is that what I'm understanding?
I mean, want is a relative term. I think I'd love it if I could have a set curriculum and make progress, but I think because Morgan is who Morgan is, it's not going to benefit him if I try to do that, because I had plans for every day this week, but it didn't seem to really go like I wanted it to, because it seems like if I try to do things and Morgan's not in the mood, not in the mind frame, it becomes a fight instead of a productive thing. And I don't want him to feel like, every day, oh, I've got to do this. So I feel like if I just set aside the time and go, okay, what do you want to do? Here are some options and let's think about this. That's going to be more productive for Morgan than it is to say, okay, it's 9 a.m. We're going to read this story, or we're going to do this writing activity. And Morg's like, no, 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 no. Sorry.
What was
you know,
that?
Nothing. They've been doing it for like the last 3 weeks. They bark at randomly at nothing, and it's
Oh.
driving me nuts. And they run to the door like, "Oh, nobody's there. No, no one was there." I don't know if it's where our hummingbirds are back, and I have my feeder out front. I don't know if they're seeing like something that they think is something, but it's nothing. But anyway, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it does sound like you are even more like unschooling, like just using
Right.
everyday learning opportunities as teachable moments.
He seems to
Um,
respond to that so much better than he does to an agenda. He needs a pattern and he needs, plans and activities, but he doesn't necessarily like to try to focus on stuff like that. He learns better through actually doing something and experiencing something than he
mhm.
does through trying to and it's kind of it's frustrating for me, but trying to read about it or trying to learn about something in particular, he doesn't do as well with that as he does with going through actually, like if he was to go to a recycling plant and see how all this works, he would love it. But trying to talk about
Mhm.
recycling and what to do, mm-mm.
Mhm.
He doesn't
He's
like to
not
talk
having it.
about it. No, he's
Uh-huh.
not. So
What
I
about a
think I'm
video?
probably going to make
Like a
it's
YouTube video?
it hits hit and miss. If he wants to watch it, it's good. If he's like, no, I don't want to, then it's not. I
Mhm.
think what I may try to do for summer is think about, I'm going to have to spend a little time maybe planning, but try to plan some activities that will put him into the experience of some of these things that I want him to learn about, where he's
Okay.
actively in the moment. So we might go
Yes.
explore. And I mean, not that I would take him on a wine tour, but you know what I'm talking about. If you learn about
Yeah.
wine on a wine tour, take him on some tours, go visit some places, go experience some stuff. He loved the museum. He adored it in Charleston. So maybe hit some children's museums or do some different things that will get him experiencing some stuff that will relate to him more. Like he can actually go out and see it, do it, touch it, be a part of it. Because if I just try to show him or have him watch, he's just not. And it could just be where Morgan's at right now, because he does seem to
Mhm.
kind of ebb and flow. If he's having a better week that I feel we can get away with something different, we might try it. But we're definitely hitting a time right now, and it could be. I mean, he's got 6 weeks of school left. He's been in this
Mhm.
for like 8.5 months. He's kind of done.
Yeah, everybody is. Even some
Right.
homeschoolers.
I know
My
I'm
class.
done. I'm over it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. This is where my classes start filling up because parents are just like, we're done. And they just start sitting in my class and it's a 4-hour drop off. And they're just like, yeah, I'm sending them. But yeah, so that sounds really good. And like you said, once you join back with us at the Teachers Lounge, we can kind of talk through some of those activities and places and ideas and things that he's interested in. Um, and you can set goals. It's good to still have goals because then like you said, let's read the signs while we're going.
Right,
You
right.
have those kind of goals that you want to work on reading, but he doesn't want to sit down and read a book. But if you know that one of his goals is to be able to read the signs and know what things are saying in the grocery store, then you could just throw that in there. If you have some math goals and things like that set, you can still throw that stuff in there when you're just going through everyday life. And so we'll still need to do those, like you said, some things that you want him to know, like the weather. Like he's asking Alexa about the weather. That would be a great field trip, like to the weather station, things like that. That's something you might can consider. But yeah, so let's start thinking about some of those real life situations and even things that might be occupation opportunities that he might be interested in. Things like that you'd like for him to see and maybe get some more idea about what it would actually look like if you were a whatever. Um,
Mhm.
maybe kind of touching base with some of that stuff. So yeah, let's start compiling a list. Do you have any ideas right now? I know you said the museum. There's several museums. There's the one in Columbia, the Adventure Museum, where you can it gets like it has everything like really big. Have you guys been to that one?
We haven't been. There's so many things we haven't done that we want to, and I think that's kind of the golden opportunity this summer because we're going to do a little vacation in the fall to the lake, but we're not going anywhere big this summer. So one of the places I did want to get him to was the zoo. We haven't
Okay.
been to the Columbia Zoo yet, and I think he would really, really enjoy that. And I know that there's signs everywhere about the different animals and what's going on with the habitats and the stuff like that. So that would be something great for him to do. I saw um, I don't know of a way. I thought there might be a way to maybe incorporate math somehow in one of the activities that we did, maybe time wise or some kind of counting or shapes or something. The Goose Creek opened a new water park for the kids,
Uh-huh.
a little splash pad, and I thought that might be fun to go see. If we could make some kind of activity out of what they've done there, but he could still enjoy it. Morgan loves the water. He loves anything to do with
Mm-hmm.
water. He wants to be a part of water. So that might be a way that we could kind of put that together for him. Yeah, some of the children's museums I think would be great. I know the, I cannot think of the name of the island, the Charleston Tea Company does tours of their entire facility. And I don't know I know it's one of the only places in North America that grows the tea. We drink their tea. They
Okay.
supply it to the White House. And it's kind of a big thing. They do guided tours and stuff on one of the islands down in Charleston. I thought
Okay.
about seeing what was there, seeing what they offered, kind of seeing if we could make some sort of experience. I thought about maybe seeing Botany Bay, taking him down there through the parks one day and seeing if we could make some kind of math game or activity about being through there.
Okay.
Um,
Yep.
I
You
think
could do like a
Morgan,
scavenger hunt again too, maybe.
right? I think he would probably relate. I know that is it Botany Bay that has all the seashells? I can't remember. Um,
I'm not sure.
there's one island down there where, or like stretch of beach where you're not allowed to take the shells. You can't do it. They don't let you. So there
Okay.
are shells everywhere. Like the beach is loaded with seashells. And I thought maybe we could do something with shapes or colors or numbers or something like that with him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, just kind of trying to take Morgan loves to be outside and he loves nature and he loves water. So trying to take those experiences and add in some of the concepts that he needs to learn. I thought about possibly doing like a sundial kind of thing, teaching him about those.
Okay.
I think he would relate to that because he gets time, but sometimes reading time is a little difficult for him.
Okay.
Um, but that would be a way to show him how the earth and the sun move and astronomy and all of that. Um, he's starting to kind of understand some of those concepts. So those are things that I'm kind of just tossing around, just ideas.
Okay. I was thinking maybe even the aquarium. Do you think he would like that? The
He's been to the
underwater.
aquarium.
You guys have
Mhm.
been to the aquarium. Did he like it?
He loves it, but um he likes being where he can be in the water or touch the
Ah,
water. It's not just so much
okay.
watching the water as it is playing in the water. I
Okay.
don't know if there's a way to kind of incorporate what he likes to do with the water, but there's got to be a way somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. There are some places where you can get in, but I don't think it is the one in Charleston. I mean the most they let you do is touch it. So,
Yeah, he's been there and he's been to
um,
the one in Myrtle Beach as well. He's been to
okay.
both of those. So he had a lot of fun.
Okay, okay. And I was also thinking of the firehouse. They have a tour that they do at the firehouse downtown. Have you guys been through that?
We did it a month ago. Shelby
Okay.
and I, the end of March, Shelby and I did it. The reason that we didn't take the kids was because Shelby used to be a fireman for Johns Island. I don't even know if you know that. So he was
Okay.
actually a paid fireman on Johns Island, and he's been a fireman for like 20 years. He doesn't do it anymore because he's getting older. But it was something he was very passionate about. And I wanted us to be able to go and see what they had and enjoy it first. So that, because once you take a group of kids, especially kids like Morgan, you're not going to sit there and see her and enjoy much yourself. So we actually did go, but I do have intentions of taking the kids back. That's a great, and there are like plaques and signs and stuff everywhere. We took a bunch of pictures. That's another place I intended to take them to, but I wanted to see it myself first before I
Okay.
did.
Okay. Well, I'll put that on your list. So
Mhm.
sounds like maybe a field trip a week might be kind of, the goal is
I
maybe
think
just to
that's
have a
it.
place.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
also, if I could introduce him, maybe like you're talking about the videos, maybe turn the closed captioning on so he can see, but try to find some videos that describe or show some of these places as
Yep.
well, that
Yep.
he can actually watch those, see what's going on, and learn about them even before he goes there. So when he goes, it's enjoyable and he kind of knows sort of what to expect and what's going on. Might be something good. They may even sell a lot of places where you go have souvenir books and things like that. So we might be able to pick up a little book about it or a pamphlet or something that we could read through that teaches us about what's going on. And that would be extra reading practice. They might be a little bit harder, but I guess, kind of like with Morgan, he reverse engineers things. It may not be as difficult as I think.
Yeah, yeah. And he may want to watch the video after. Like if you
Right.
go for my daughter, I showed her the video before, but she still was just kind of like, why are we watching this? But afterwards,
Right.
she watched the video too, and she was like, oh, we saw that when we went. We were able to talk
That's
about
good.
it more after the video too. And then, I mean, you could always suggest, let's check out a book afterwards, and let's see if we can find a book about, this topic or something if he really enjoys it. So. I think that's a good plan to just kind of, keep it, like you said, open, but kind of have an idea of things that you do want to work on in the process and pull and use those teachable moments. And something that I did learn about unschooling is whenever a child does show an interest, you don't always want to make it a lesson. So I just want to go ahead and throw that out there that even though you do want to make these teachable moments. You don't always want to start drilling them and, kind of be like, well, let's learn more. Sometimes it's just what it is in that moment, like you said, and you just play and enjoy it and, let it go. But it did say that when kids feel that their parents are going to turn every interest into a unit study or a lesson, that they stop sharing
Right.
their interests with us. And so,
Right.
you just have to be careful, but, still enjoy it. I saw my kids, they were researching something this morning and I just kind of threw it out there. She was looking for Footloose, and they were looking for the movie because she's doing a dance to it. And I was like, well, why don't y'all look and see if you can find some other videos about the song? And so they just went down a rabbit trail of like other little musicals and the dance steps and the history of the movie. And, she got to find out all this information and I just kind of let them go. But, I wanted to kind of be like, well, here's what happened during that time and here's what was going on. And, I wanted to
Right.
go into a whole thing, but I just let them watch some videos and now they're still trying to find the movie, which we have to pay for it on Amazon. So we'll see if we can find it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, just trying to use those teachable moments and, keeping it fun and engaging. And I definitely want to hear how things go next week. I know this is our last session and we'll pick back up in, if you want to just start in June. So we said we'd take May off and then
Yeah.
you maybe start back with us. So let me see what date that is. So we'll have a teacher's lounge
June 4th.
June 4th. Yep, June 4th. So that would be perfect for you to go ahead and start planning out that week. And I'll just put that in your notes and I'll let you kind of reach out and get into that. I can send you that link whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Um, And June 4th. And yeah, you can maybe just let me know how things are going. I'll see you this summer too. And I want to get him signed up for camp for our reading
Mhm.
program too. And that'll be on Thursday. So we'll be able to touch base. That doesn't start till after. That's the second week of June. So I'll
You
see
said
you
the
before then.
15th. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's good. You got a good little taste of kind of, how things would be, and found out that, structure is probably not going to be his strong suit, and you'll be able to kind of plan accordingly instead of jumping in there thinking,
Mhm.
oh, we're going to do everything on this schedule. And it's just like, okay, nope, let's throw it out the door. So I'm glad you got that
Yeah.
experience this week and have a
I
better
think
idea of what to do this summer.
he also is having a difficult time distinguishing between home time and school time. I think it's going to be an adjustment for him. So kind of showing him that, there's times that you can learn without being at school. You can learn anytime, anywhere is a good lesson. But
That
that's
is
something,
very important. That is
yeah, he's got
very
to adapt
important.
to that. And I think that was also part of the struggle, was just like, why? It's break. I don't want to do this. I'm at home. Like, I'm not supposed to be doing this right now. So I think pushing it was not, and I didn't push it. I mean, I felt the resistance and was like, okay, maybe not. But that was, I guess, an adjustment in my expectations. So knowing that and giving it a trial run and seeing how it went, I know that through the summer, having the fluidity is going to be where I need to be.
Good, good. And like you said, the lesson of knowing that, school and learning happens all the time. Like we can always be learning. That is one of the things that, going to school does, because kids, they don't, what's the word, make the connections of the stuff that they're learning at school with their real life. Like we all know, we all learn that in school, but how did we apply it to real life? It's like school is just a place to learn, but it's
Right.
not really a place to connect. So yeah, I would definitely maybe just mention that we're going to do some learning over the summer so that you don't
Right.
forget everything. And that way they kind of have it in their mind that we are going to hit it a little bit, like you're going to see a little bit of learning. So I think you'll
Right.
do
Well,
good, and we'll talk about it.
and the reading program and the Lego club and things like that, we're going to make it a point to fit those things into the schedule so that there's not so much pressure on me to always have a lesson plan or figure something out, because, I have things, but being able to plan like a day a week where we go do something is great. And then being able to plan like maybe a couple days a week where, we kind of have some activities at home that we can kind of put together that, if he's feeling it, what he's feeling, and having some, like the local activities. We go to the library every week anyway. So there are things that we do just as part of our routine that I can kind of count.
Okay.
So, we're going to kind of keep just standard patterns of, if he's going to be reading 30 minutes a day, which is something we just need to do, that
Mm-hmm.
counts. Everything, I guess not putting it on myself to think, okay, we have this agenda that we have to, get through this, or we have to learn that. I mean, that's basically what school is. So I don't want him to have to feel that he has to do all of these things. I want him to feel like we want to, and it's fun, and we're going to do these
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we enjoy it. So I want to keep it lighthearted and relaxed. And if it doesn't, my main goal at this point, I guess, I would love to get him, ready more for second grade. But if we can just prevent any slide for the summer, I would be satisfied. Getting him ready, and more caught up to the second grade level is a dream. That's reach for the stars, right?
Ours. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we'll see where we get. If as long as he doesn't take a slide back, I mean, even if the other kids slide a little and he's not sliding, he'll be more caught up than he was. So like I'm trying to go at it with an open mind and not put pressure on myself or him with certain goals, but just go, what, as long as we're making a conscious effort, we're going to be doing good things.
Okay.
So
So let's I just put that down as our last note. So let's at least look at that second grade curriculum. And
mhm.
that way you'll have in your mind some things that he is going to be looking at in second grade when you're choosing, field trips, or if something comes up, or even conversations. Like sometimes they'll say, be able to explain the plot of a story. So when you're reading, that's something you can easily say. You can throw in that word. This is the plot, or this is the climax. You can start throwing in those words for him.
Uh-huh.
So that's something that we can do in the teacher's lounge too, is start looking at those second grade standards and kind of
Mhm.
see what you can throw in. That would be a very good idea. Just to kind of give you some goals, like you said, to shoot for. So you're shooting for the moon, you'll still hit the stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want me to send you that link or you got it?
I do have it, but I don't have it on this computer. I'm on a different computer right now.
Okay.
I see
Um,
South Carolina has some. I don't
mhm.
know.
Yeah,
I,
there's a link called South Carolina Family Friendly Standards. And that's the one that I like to use, South Carolina Family Friendly Standards. And I think it's
this is just South Carolina. What was this? Department of Education, but
mhm.
I don't know what his school actually uses or goes by, but I see
They should use these standards if it's South Carolina Department of Education. They should be
I'm
using it.
imagining that that's what they're using. So this would be close. So this is
Mhm,
like
mhm.
his English and language arts. So yeah, these are um read use knowledge of how syllables work to read multisyllabic words, read irregularly spelled two-syllable words, and words with common prefixes.
So prefixes, so that would be like unbuckle.
Re
Yeah,
right,
redo. So
right.
those are words I'm sure you guys are seeing, and you can just point out this is a prefix, and that's all. That's all you gotta say is what's the prefix? Re, So those are very, very good. And then like,
And I'm sure that I didn't read it because I'm just kind of skimming, but there might be suffixes
hmm
as well. So you could kind of go over both and explain, break down words that have a prefix and a suffix and explain, this is a way to kind of see these chunks. I know they're trying to do that in some of his spelling words, some of his reading to teach them to be able to quickly recognize things, to break it down. Maybe if I went over some of the most common ones,
hmm
um, I'm just looking it up real quick. The most common prefixes. Okay, so there's a list. So mid, that's a good one. Anti, post, um, sub, like under. So those are
hmm
really good ones. So yeah, so I might be able to even check out just a list of some of the ones that you see all the time that he could see
hmm
it, know immediately
Yep.
um,
And
what
think of
he's supposed to
words,
do.
or you
Mhm.
could look for words, as you're driving, as you're riding. But I can see your brain already clicking on, this is stuff that you can throw in during his homework, during y'all's 30 minutes of reading time. Did you say that's something that you do want to continue the 30 minutes of reading time over the summer? Definitely.
I do, because Morgan is definitely not on goal. They say by the beginning of second grade for South Carolina standards, they should be reading 50 to 60 words a minute, and they
hmm
should be able to read kind of fluently. And Morgan
hmm
is still very
Oh
one
yeah.
word at a time, and but you've seen him read. So
hmm hmm
not that I'm going to press that goal, but I would like for him to get more words that he recognizes. I would like for him to get more comfortable in his reading. And we picked out some new books at the library this week that Madison got that they're great because they're thicker books, but they're not harder books. They still
hmm
have very easy words and content, but there's a lot more of it. So as he's flipping these pages, every page has a new picture, which is great because that's keeping his attention. Something's going on every page, but every page might have one sentence of like 4 or 5
hmm
words. So it's those were some good books that we worked through. I
Good,
want to
good,
keep
good,
more things
good.
like that coming in where we read it, but maybe I think, and I don't know if I'm gonna try something. I don't know if he's gonna get bored with this or not, but I think I would like to maybe have like a book of the week where we start out his 30 minutes of reading time, like the first 5 or 10 minutes might be, we're gonna reread this book, because if we read it repetitively, not only is he going to memorize the book, but he'll start looking for something because his brain already knows what's coming. He's going to start looking and seeing what's going on those pages. So maybe
hmm
I think one of the problems with switching a book every day is there's so much
Oh
going on.
yes, that's
You
a
know,
lot.
it's a lot. And so one of the books that he wants to read repetitively are larger, harder books. So I think I might try to get him to start reading repetitively some easier books, and he might be bored with it by the end of the week. But at least if I give him something over and over again, he might be able to recognize that better and start looking and making those connections better and getting it to stick. Because I know
Yeah.
on his homework last night, we had to write a few sentences and I helped him. We explained what we were going to do and I wrote it and then he had to copy it. But he was writing words and I was telling him what the words were. And there are even words that are on his spelling list this week. And then we went over it as a sight word. What is this word? No clue. Just doesn't, it's
Oh,
not, those
not
connections aren't
clicking.
being made. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking with anything with ADHD particularly and stuff, they need repetition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think if you're doing something, you might be repeating the activity, but if it's a different book every time, I don't know that the learning is really being ingrained or getting in there. So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
let him pick the book of the week, but the book of the week might be something we read at the start. And then after we do that, then okay, fine. Or we could just even have it at bedtime if he wants to do it at bedtime, but like one book we read every night or every day that week. And then
Mm-hmm.
he can still do his 30 minutes of watching the videos, the reels of being read to. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, he likes that.
And maybe
Yeah,
by
I
the end
would.
of the week, he can read it to me. And then if he's able to do
Yeah,
it
that would be a good
successfully,
goal.
there's some kind of, goal or prize or something.
Yes, that is that's what I was going to say, is that the goal is for him to read the book to you at the end of the week for a prize
Right.
or,
Right.
Anything. Yeah. And that way he would really pay attention and try to figure out the words and memorize it. And that's how my son started learning how to read. He would just memorize the words. I would read it, he would memorize it, and then I'd let him read it. And, he
Right.
just started doing that. So, yep, that would be a very good goal. I'm just going to write that down.
Mm-hmm.
Just to read the book of the week. Yep. And that way, I mean, it doesn't take long. Let's just practice it. So at the end of the week, you can read it to me and earn, I don't know, an hour of
The trip.
electronics or a trip. Oh, go.
It might be, he might be earning the educational day that I have planned, but because it's a fun educational day, he doesn't feel like it's something, because when we're going out and doing things, I might work stuff in, but it's going to be more like an adventure for him. He loves to go. He doesn't care where he goes, when he goes. He doesn't care if it's taking the trash to the dump. He wants to go. So if we have, a
Love
big
that.
trip planned like once a week to Charleston or to do something somewhere, that'd be a great prize to earn.
Oh,
So,
yes, that would be awesome. Yep. I think that would be awesome for him to earn that. So,
yeah.
all right, I'm going to put that down and we'll refer back to this list. Goal of the week is to read the book, and the reward is the field trip or learning field trip.
And if you can screenshot that and send it to me, because I didn't take notes today, that would be very helpful.
Okay, I can send these notes to you. Learning field trip. Perfect. All right, so I've got those plans. I've got that you want to do interest-led, child-led learning instead of a set curriculum. Want to use your everyday learning moments as teachable moments. Just making sure I got everything. He needs to do it and be a part of the experience. I wrote that down. He's not really wanting to watch many videos, because I was thinking that might be something, but you said he's not. So I kind of wrote that down too as I'm kind of thinking.
He
And then I
wants to
wrote
watch
down
videos, but he only wants to watch. He's very obsessed with gaming, and he only wants to watch these YouTubers play video games. And that's fine, but I can't do a lot with that from a educational perspective. And so when he gets in front of a device, it's like a fight to say, we're not going to do that. We need to do this. We don't want to do that. So, that's
how my son is. He loves watching those gaming videos. They're so
what is the
stimulating.
deal?
We need to figure out how we can use them, because
we're going to have to figure out a way to do something, because they love them. And I'm fine with it, in moderation, but we're going to try to get him away and do other things. And I think if I try to do other things in the house, because he's used to being stimulated, it's kind of like, well, this is boring. I don't want to do it. But if he gets to go out and see a new experience, he's stimulated, but in an entirely different way.
So. He's used to being stimulated by the game at home during his free time or during his time.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. And, you'll have to kind of get a routine, like you said, going and, limit your screen time over the summer and all those things that have to kind of be, I mean, if you want to, we can help you talk about that. I like for my kids to try to limit screen time till after they've done some reading, because like you said, once they get that input, they don't want to read. So I try to do it before, like, okay, we'll get your 30 minutes of reading in, and then you can watch your, video game. Because like you said, once their brain's stimulated, the reading an actual book is very hard. So that's just a suggestion.
I am usually up late at night with work. And
Mm-hmm.
they are like, Morgan was trying to shake Nathan awake at 4 a.m. Like, and Nathan was like, go to bed. And he finally went back to bed and went back to sleep. But like on the weekends, they are up like early, early. And I've done the room darkening blinds and the whole thing. They just wake up. And so for me, it's hard to get ahead of them unless I like literally unplug the internet and it doesn't work.
Oh,
So,
wow.
which
So
I
they try
have
to get
done.
up. They try to get up
Yeah.
and start watching video games first thing in the morning. See, my kid,
First thing.
yeah, we definitely, yeah, we got to get some other stuff done. And like they've got to check off this list of stuff. And I can send you some stuff like they have to, build something, do their chore, read something, then, electronics. So yeah, I can
Gotcha.
see. We used to let them do that and they just kept getting up earlier, earlier, and earlier. So all
Right.
right, well, I'm gonna let you go and we'll talk about some
Okay.
of those things to kind of help get some stuff done before electronics and
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get you back on track and figure it all out.
Sounds
Just
good.
some stuff for you to think about.
We're going to hit survival mode for the next 6 weeks is what we're going to do and just get
Get
through because
through it.
mama's
Get through
tired.
it. Get
That's
through
right.
it. Get through it.
We'll
Take you a
regroup for
little break.
June.
Yes,
Yep.
ma'am. All right. Well, I
All
will
right.
talk to you then and I'll see you guys. Yeah, I'll probably see you this summer too.
Sounds great.
Okay, bye.
All right. Bye.